Yes, Christian James and Dame Dollar are the best backcourt in this league currently. They're
Robert?
But don't hide.
You know, I'm not going to say they're the best. I'm not going to say that. I love Dame. I love him to death. But think about it. Bradley Beal's putting on a show. Westbrook is an MVP, triple-double. So there's an argument for a lot of other duos out there.
But my thing is this: don't hide behind you. If I was that guy, he was like, today, I didn't. It's like, no, look. At the end of the day, just
scared, man.
Say this. Say this.
What you gonna say?
Look, do you have an MVP? Have you played in the finals? Because that duo has an individual that has done both.
Well, yes. I would say, though, that Westbrook has not found his footing quite yet with the Wizards right now, and I would certainly give it to Damon CJ, or as you have taken to calling him,
Christian James.
There we go. Welcome to The Jump. I am Richel Nichols alongside a couple of NBA champions, Richard Jefferson, Robert Horry. I would like to brag that between the three of us, we have 8 rings. That's the right way to say it, Richard.
That is right. I like to say
I don't think we need to say anything more. Who has 7 on this
We're
panel?
team, baby.
It might
We're
be,
team.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
So kind. Coming up, how good are the Rockets now after acquiring Victor Oladipo in that massive 4-team blockbuster trade? We will discuss the Houston side of things in a moment, but you know where we're going first. Yeah, Brooklyn. It says something about a trade if we can simultaneously have been talking about it possibly happening for months and have it knock everyone over when it comes through. Durant, Harden, Kyrie, all on one team. It's a dazzling collection of basketball talent. Durant on his way to proving he's right back up there with LeBron as the best player in the NBA. Harden, one of the game's greatest ever scorers, who's finished top 5 in MVP voting 6 of the past 7 years. Kyrie is the league's best ball handler who can flat out perform magic around the hoop. They are 3 of the most outrageously talented players in the league. But they're also, of course, 3 of the NBA's most distinct personalities, making all of this potentially explosive in about 100 different directions, both good and bad. So what does happen when 3 crazy kids moved into one of those Brooklyn lofts together to try to take on the world? I'm glad you asked. Yes, in honor of this mega trade, The Jump presents our latest show within a show. Three's Company, Brooklyn edition. And just like with Jack, Janet, and Chrissy,
Jack
you can
Roper.
expect plenty of hijinks
Why you got Kyrie's face looking like that?
as we see
Everybody
how
else
this
smiling.
group meshes.
Why did they put him in Chrissy's spot, though?
Now, executive producer, Nets general manager, Sean Marks, is optimistic. Here he was this morning talking about the screaming neon elephant in the room, team chemistry.
Look, I think whenever you're meshing personalities, I think we've got to wait and see how this all fits on the floor and so forth. I think these guys have given us the right answers. They've said, hey, they want to play together. They can see this fitting. I think they're at a time in their careers, they understand that there's without a doubt going to be some nights where 1 or 2 need to sacrifice for the other and so forth. But I think they're all looking for that common goal.
Marks added that Harden and Durant already knowing and liking each other should help speed the team building process here. Perhaps, although as he was speaking, it was hard to not think about how that same scenario went so wrong between Harden and Russell Westbrook that Russ asked out after just 1 season. As for the Kyrie angle, Marks denied that Kyrie's current situation spurred the Nets to finally pull the trigger on this trade, insisting it was not a hedge to give Durant a more reliable co-star. He also noted Kyrie is, quote, very excited to return to the team after his mysterious absence. But honestly, none of that addresses what is going to be the real issue going forward. Is Kyrie going to be okay with essentially being the 3rd option in Brooklyn behind 2 former MVPs? We know part of why Kyrie asked out of Cleveland was because he didn't want to continue shaping either his game or his standing on the team around LeBron anymore. We know there were issues coexisting with teammates in Boston. We know that in other recent big threes, guys like Kevin Love, Chris Bosh have had some trouble adjusting to that 3rd role. And these 2 guys, well, they're at least notoriously mellow. At least Kyrie plays a different position. He will have the ball in his hands more. Maybe Ray Allen in Boston is a better comparison. Although, of course, we know how that team dynamic ended also. Clearly, it is something to watch, as is how this Nets team looks on the defensive end. With Jared Allen out the door, the Nets no longer have anyone who you would call a defensive standout. In fact, 5 of the Nets' key rotation players had a negative defensive real plus-minus last season. That's a lot. Still, all Brooklyn really needs is a functional level of team defense, something KD and Kyrie, and yes, at times, yes, even James, have shown to be capable of. So if they want to play hard on that end, they can. Also, let's be honest, there's going to be plenty of nights, at least in the regular season, they won't have to. In a year where there is no plan to hold an actual All-Star game, Brooklyn should have plenty of that vibe nightly. At their best, we could see a 3-ring circus of death-defying feats of basketball brilliance. Will it be enough to threaten the defending champion Lakers at the very top of the NBA pyramid? We'll have to see. Will it be enough to cause an arms race in the East with the Bucks, Sixers, Heat, or Celtics now trying to pull off their own big trades? We will see. Will it be Three's company or Three's a crowd? I don't know. But after all these months of speculating about this trade, it's going to be a whole lot of fun watching it all play out. I think they look good on that couch.
I think they look great.
I'm just saying, now that the deal's finally done, what do you expect from James Harden in Houston?
Well, again, you know this. When you're trying to fight for a championship, and I don't appreciate you asking me that question and just taking a sip and watching me just go out there like that. But
just me sipping the tea.
No.
Literally sipping actual tea.
Everybody has to be on the same page, pushing in the right direction. It doesn't matter how much talent you have. You look at the Clippers situation. There's been tons of talented teams that, for whatever reason, they weren't connecting, they weren't vibing. And so I think everyone should be optimistic. I'm optimistic. Everyone should be excited about this. And to your point about no defense, it's like, look, if 2 of the 3 of those guys have it going on the night, they're going to beat all but maybe 1 or 2 teams in this league. If all 3 of them are moving and playing well, the difference between this 3 and, let's say, the big 3 that Golden State had with Kevin Durant, those guys were all ball movers and shooters, right? Klay Thompson was moving off screens. Klay was moving off screen. The 3 of these guys are all ball handlers.
I'm still looking at this team like, who's going to take over? Because when you look at James Harden, he gets his rhythm by playing with the rock. KD playing with the rock. Kyrie playing with the rock. So that is going to be trouble because they're not shooters like Steph and Klay who can come out and shoot the ball. So this big 3 is a little bit worrisome for me because they all playing with the rock. And now, who's going to play defense? Who's going to come off the bench? They gave away a lot to get this guy, and now they have nothing because at the end of the day, you need what people like to call the others, the bench, to step up. They have no bench. They have nobody to step up. So I'm looking at the 3 J's, Jeff, Jordan, and the other guy, the shooter, to come off.
Joe Harris.
Joe Harris, to shoot the ball and play. They gotta step up, and we know Jordan is old. We don't know how he's going to step up. So, I know how it is when you get up in age and still trying to compete.
Yeah, we both do. But the crazy thing is, too, is when you look at it, obviously there's questions about Kyrie, what his situation is. And then James Harden is obviously not in the championship shape that he has been the last few years. And when
that gets fixed over the course of the season.
But this is my thing. Like, look at this picture here. This was James Harden going into the bubble. People were talking about how amazing shape he was. Now he overjumped this shape and went to the next position. So he went from super, super skinny to